It's 2013 and the Baltimore Ravens have won Super Bowl 47. They were led by fifth-year head coach John Harbaugh. The Ravens looked like they would be Super Bowl contenders for years to come, as Harbaugh had led them to the playoffs in each of his first 5 seasons. Harbaugh would never return to the big game with the Ravens. He had his ups and downs, and eventually the team would fail to meet expectations in 2025, leading to him being fired. This video goes over the downfall of John Harbaugh in Baltimore. During the 2013 offseason, the Ravens would trade Anquan Boldin to the 49ers. Baltimore wanted Boldin to take a pay cut, but he refused, leading to him being sent to San Francisco. The Ravens would go 8-8 and miss the playoffs during the 2013 regular season. While they had the 12th best scoring defense, they ranked 25th in points scored. This was a falloff from their previous season when they had the 10th best scoring offense. Quarterback Joe Flacco struggled this season as he threw 19 touchdowns to 22 interceptions, with a completion percentage below 60%. Running back Ray Rice struggled the entire season as he averaged 3.1 yards per carry. This was because he was playing through a hip flexor strain. After the 2013 season, offensive coordinator Jim Caldwell left to become the head coach of the Detroit Lions. Baltimore would hire Gary Kubiak to become their new offensive coordinator. During the 2014 offseason, the Ravens would make some key signings. They would sign running back Justin Forsett to a 1-year $730,000 deal and wide receiver Steve Smith to a 3-year $11.5 million deal. Before the season started, Baltimore would release running back Ray Rice after a domestic violence incident. This meant that Justin Forsett would take over as the starting running back. The Ravens would have a much better season in 2014 as they went 10-6 and clinched a wildcard position. They ranked 8th in points scored and 6th in points allowed. Justin Forsett had over 1,500 yards from scrimmage, earning him a Pro Bowl selection. On defense, rookie middle linebacker C.J. Mosley had a strong season and made it to the Pro Bowl. Pass rusher Elvis Dumervil had 17 sacks, earning him first-team All-Pro. Terrell Suggs had 12 sacks on the season. Baltimore looked like a dangerous team in the AFC playoffs. In the wildcard round, the Ravens would go on the road to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. They would win this game 30-17. Joe Flacco threw for 2 touchdowns and Steve Smith had over 100 yards receiving. The defense sacked Ben Roethlisberger 5 times and intercepted him twice. In the divisional round, Baltimore would take on the New England Patriots. They would have a 14-0 lead, but the Patriots would come back to tie it at 14. Then they would take a 28-14 lead, but once again, the Patriots would come back to tie it at 28. After a Ravens field goal, Brady would lead a go-ahead touchdown drive to give New England a 35-31 lead. The Patriots would hold on to this lead, knocking Baltimore out of the playoffs. After the 2014 season, Gary Kubiak would leave the team to become the head coach for the Denver Broncos. The Ravens would hire former Bears head coach Mark Trestman to become their new offensive coordinator. Baltimore would have a disastrous season in 2015 as they went 5-11. Joe Flacco, Justin Forsett, Steve Smith, and Terrell Suggs all suffered season-ending injuries. They would rank 25th in points scored and 24th in points allowed. During the 2016 regular season, the Ravens would go 8-8 and miss the playoffs for the second straight season. They improved from 5 wins in 2015 to 8 wins in 2016. While they ranked 8th in points allowed, they had the 21st best scoring offense. During the season, they would fire offensive coordinator Mark Trestman and replace him with Marty Morningweg. During the 2017 regular season, the Ravens would go 9-6 in their first 15 games. They needed one more win against the Bengals to make it to the postseason. Cincinnati would get out to a 24-10 lead. Baltimore would score 17 straight points to take a 27-24 lead. With 53 seconds left, all the Ravens needed to do was stop the Bengals on a 4th and 12. Baltimore would give up a game-winning touchdown to Tyler Boyd. It was a heartbreaking loss. After the season was over, Harbaugh was on the hot seat. While his defenses performed well, the team had missed the playoffs in 3 straight seasons. Owner Stephen Biscotti considered firing him, but Harbaugh was able to remain as the head coach. The Ravens would make some free agency signings, but nothing too significant. Their major addition came during the draft. They would select quarterback Lamar Jackson from Louisville with a 32nd pick. During the 2018 regular season, Joe Flacco would still be the starter. He would start the first 9 games and the team would go 4-5. He would suffer a hip injury during their Week 9 loss to the Steelers. This would lead to Jackson becoming the starter, something that he would not give up. He would go 6-1 during the last 7 games, leading the Ravens to a 10-6 record. They would win the AFC North and host a playoff game. In the wildcard round, they would take on the LA Chargers. They would be down 23-3 with less than 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Jackson would try to lead a late comeback, but Baltimore would fall short and lose 23-17. While it was a disappointing loss, the future looked bright for Jackson and the Ravens. After the season was over, Baltimore would replace offensive coordinator Marty Mornhinweg with Greg Roman. Roman had experience with mobile quarterbacks and was ready to develop Jackson into an elite NFL quarterback. During the 2019 offseason, Joe Flacco would get traded to the Denver Broncos. It was officially the start of a new era for the Ravens. Baltimore would go 14-2 during the 2019 regular season. They would get the number 1 seed in the AFC. They had the number 1 scoring offense and the number 3 scoring defense. They were led by MVP quarterback Lamar Jackson. He threw 36 touchdowns to 6 interceptions and had 1,200 yards rushing. His dual threat ability was difficult for defenses to contain. In the divisional round, the Ravens would take on the Tennessee Titans. Baltimore would melt down during this game and lose 28-12. Jackson would throw 2 interceptions and fumble once. The Ravens would also fail to convert 2 fourth and short situations. It was a disastrous game which led to Baltimore being one and done. The Ravens would go 11-5 during the 2020 regular season. They would have the 7th best scoring offense and the 2nd best scoring defense. Even though Baltimore didn't win the division, they were capable of making a deep playoff run. In the wildcard round, the Ravens would win 20-13 against the Tennessee Titans. They were able to come back from a 10-0 deficit. They shut down Derrick Henry, and Lamar Jackson finally got his first playoff win. In the divisional round, Baltimore would lose 17-3 against Buffalo. Jackson would throw a crucial pick 6. He would later leave the game with an injury. It was another disappointing end for the Ravens. During the 2021 regular season, Baltimore would start 8-3. However, they would end the season on a 6-game losing streak, which resulted in them finishing 8-9 and missing the playoffs. The Ravens had several close losses, and they also suffered a lot of injuries. Most notably, Jackson missed the final 4 games of the season. It was an awful ending for the team. In 2022, the Ravens would get out to a 7-4 start. In Week 13, Jackson suffered a season-ending knee injury against the Broncos. Baltimore would win this game to go 8-4. They would finish 2-3 in their last 5 games to go 10-7 overall. They would make the playoffs as a wildcard team. In the wildcard round, the Ravens would take on the Bengals. The game would be tied 17-17 heading into the fourth quarter. Backup quarterback Tyler Huntley would fumble the ball at the goal line, which would be returned by the Bengals for a touchdown. Baltimore would lose this game 24-17. It was yet another devastating loss for the Ravens. After the season ended, Greg Roman would resign as the offensive coordinator. Baltimore would hire former Georgia offensive coordinator Todd Monken to replace him. The Ravens would go 13-4 during the 2023 regular season. They would earn the number 1 seed. They had the 4th best scoring offense and the best scoring defense. Jackson would win his 2nd MVP. Baltimore looked like they could win the Super Bowl this year. In the divisional round, the Ravens defeated the Texans 34-10. Baltimore's defense held Houston to 213 yards of offense. In the AFC Championship game, the Ravens would take on the Chiefs. Kansas City would take a 17-7 lead by halftime. The Ravens would shut out the Chiefs in the second half. However, their offense would put up only 3 points. They committed 2 turnovers in Kansas City territory. They would lose the game 17-10. It was a disappointing, undisciplined loss for the team. After the season was over, defensive coordinator Mike Macdonald would leave to become the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks. Assistant coach Zach Orr would get promoted to defensive coordinator. The Ravens would start 0-2 during the 2024 regular season. They would go 12-3 the rest of the way to finish 12-5 on the season. They won the AFC North by having the 3rd best scoring offense and the 9th best scoring defense. Baltimore looked like they could make a deep playoff run. In the wildcard round, the Ravens would take on the Steelers. They would have nearly 300 yards rushing and win this game 28-14. In the divisional round, Baltimore would face Buffalo. It was a back-and-forth game throughout. The Ravens had 3 turnovers in this game. However, they were still in position to tie the game at the end. Baltimore would score a late touchdown to make the score 27-25. They needed a 2-point conversion to tie the game. Mark Andrews would drop the ball, and the Ravens would lose in heartbreaking fashion. It was the same old story. Baltimore would start out 1-2 during the 2025 regular season. Jackson would suffer a hamstring injury in a Week 4 loss to the Kansas City Chiefs. He would be out for the next 3 games, and the Ravens would go 1-2 during this stretch, making their overall record 2-5. Jackson would then come back, and Baltimore would go 5-2 in the next 7 games to make their record 7-7. He would suffer another injury in a Week 16 loss to the Patriots. Backup quarterback Tyler Huntley would start in Week 17 and win. At 8-8, the Ravens had a chance to win the AFC North in Pittsburgh. Jackson would return to this game. It was a crazy back-and-forth game between the two teams. Baltimore had a chance to win this game in the end. Kicker Tyler Luke would miss a 44-yard field goal, which would end the Ravens season. Baltimore would fire John Harbaugh after the 2025 season. It was a great run for him, but it was time for a change. There were multiple playoff losses where lack of discipline was a consistent theme. That goes back to the head coach. Furthermore, he had poor game management, which resulted in the team blowing many games. Harbaugh would sign with the New York Giants to become their new head coach. He will be able to bring stability to the organization. In order for him to take the team to the next level, he needs to learn from his recent playoff failures. He will have to bring more discipline than he did before in Baltimore. If he can do that, the Giants have plenty of talent to become something special.